even the darkest night will end, and the sun will rise.
Good morning, Ward Hammond here. Even the darkest night will end and the sun will rise, says Victor Hugo from Les Mis. Victor Hugo wrote these words while living in exile on the island of Guernsey, banished from France for opposing Napoleon's III's coup d'etat. He had already endured the death of his beloved daughter. He would spend 19 years separated from his homeland, unable to return. He knew darkness, not the metaphorical darkness of a bad day, but the kind that settles into your bones and makes you wonder if the sun is a memory you invented. Yes, this was a man who chose to write about redemption. Hugo didn't write Les Mis in spite of his darkness. He wrote it because of it. Here's what I'm sitting with lately. What darkness are you in that you've forgotten is temporary? The mind has this extraordinary capacity to treat the present moment as permanent. Whatever you're experiencing right now, grief, uncertainty, fear, the mind quietly whispers, this is just how things are now. This is your new normal. It's not malicious, it's protective. If the mind can convince you that this is permanent, you'll stop hoping. And if you stop hoping, you can't be disappointed again. But it's also not true. But night has never been eternal. Not once in history of the universe has darkness won. There's something humbling and liberating in Hugo's message of the rising sun. The sun doesn't rise because you've earned it. It doesn't care if you've been good, if you've worked hard, if you've figured everything out. The sun rises because that's what the sun does. This isn't about deserving hope. It's about the nature of reality itself. Darkness is real. Hugo never pretended otherwise. But darkness is also, by definition, the absence of light. And light doesn't ask for permission to return. I think about this in my meditation practice each day. The practice isn't about making darkness go away. It's about recognizing that darkness itself is like that sun, always already present, whether we notice it or not. The clouds of thought, the storm of emotions, the long nights of difficulty, none of them actually exist. Or none of them actually extinguish the sun. They just obscure it temporarily. The sun is always rising somewhere. Hugo's hope isn't naive optimism. He doesn't say things will get better or it will all work out. He says something more fundamental. Night ends. That's not a promise about your specific situation. It's an observation about the nature of time and change. Nothing stays the same. Not the good, not the bad, not the neutral middle ground. The darkness you're in right now, it's temporary. The light that will follow, also temporary. And the darkness after that, that's temporary too. The question isn't whether the sun will rise, it's whether you'll remember in the depths of night that sunrise is coming. So, what do we do with this? How do we live in darkness while knowing it's temporary? I think the practice is simple, though not easy. Remember, the sun is going to rise. Remember that you've been in darkness before and the sun rose. Remember that others have endured longer nights than yours and still saw the dawn. Remember that the universe has been ending and beginning darkness for billions of years, and it hasn't failed yet. And when you can't remember, when the darkness is so complete that memory itself feels like ice, like a lie, then borrow someone else's memory. Read Hugo, read Rumi, read Mary Oliver, or whoever reminds you that others have stood where you're standing and lived to tell about it. Victor Hugo wrote Les Mis in exile and lived to see it become one of the most celebrated novels in human history. He returned to France. He died surrounded by the country that had once banished him, honored as one of its greatest sons. The night ended. The sun rose. So I'll end where I began, with the question that's been sitting with me. What darkness are you in that you've forgotten is temporary? Not because I have an answer for you, not because I can make your darkness less dark, but because sometimes the first step toward dawn is simply remembering that dawn exists. The sun will rise, not because you've earned it, not because you've got it all figured out, but because that's what the sun does. And it will keep doing it long after both of us have returned to the earth that spins beneath it. If you like this content, you can support me with a like, a comment, a share, a subscribe, or you can even go to my Ko-Fi channel. Buy me a cup of coffee. That'd be great. Ko-Fi.com/Ward Hammond. Thank you very much. Until tomorrow.